Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, the food experience is back, and today we are gonna bake a vanilla cake in the caloric Maxx air fryer oven. Not in air fryer mode though, in oven mode, just to show you what this thing can do. And I was searching the internet for all kinds of different vanilla cake recipes. I didn't want to do one from a box. They never turn out that great. I mean, they're okay, but nothing to write home about. So I came across this cool website, RecipeTin Eats. Wow. This girl, Nagi, I think her name is, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. She has some amazing recipes on the site, and I'm going to give her full credit for the recipe. In fact, during this whole baking and preparing of the batter, I'm not going to tell you measurements or anything like that, because I want you to go to her site, show her support, and check out the recipe on her site. And I've already tried it and tested it to make sure it worked and was compatible with the Maxx, which it is. First thing we're going to do is press the oven button. It defaults to bake. We're going to leave it on bake. Press the selector dial and add a bunch of time. I mean, this just allows it to preheat and extra time while you're preparing the batter. So that's what I'm going to do. Then press the selector knob again and change it to 350 degrees. There we go. And go ahead and hit start. And the preheat has begun. Also, I want to mention I'm going to post the links back to RecipeTin Eats down in the description, and also a pinned comment. That way you guys could check out the full recipe on how to do this, okay? It's very important you follow her instructions to the T. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm just not gonna disclose the measurements or anything like that, alright? I'm also gonna be using these two 6-inch cake rounds that I got off of Amazon. I will post a link in the description for them as well. The very first thing you want to do is go ahead and grease the pans, and that's what I'm going to do right now with unsalted butter. And make sure it hits every part of the pan, okay? Don't be stingy with it. So the purpose of the buttering the pans, even though these are non-stick pans, it's going to give the cake a nice golden color to it, which, you know, is great for appearance, that type of thing. If you're frosting it, it probably won't matter, but nonetheless, I'm going to do it anyways. So I got one of them all greased up, and I'm going to go ahead and do the other one off camera. Next, you want to line each of the pans with parchment paper. And fortunately, these pans come with 60 sheets of parchment paper. So that makes it very simple and easy. They fit right in there, and it's kind of like a no-brainer. And they have these little pull tabs to make it easy to assist removing the cake. I love these things. Like I said, I already tried this before and it worked perfectly. Let's go ahead and make the batter. Normally they recommend a KitchenAid mixer. However, I do not have that kind of budget. So a few months ago I bought this Akuma stand mixer off of Amazon. I'll also post the link for that in the description down below as well if you want a good budget-friendly mixer. And this thing definitely works pretty good. So let's get to it. First thing to do is whisk some dry ingredients. And I'm going to go ahead and whisk it till everything is well combined. Trying to do this on camera is fun. I mean, normally I'd want to put this on the counter, and I just don't think I'm going to get that kind of view out of my camera. So I'm going to do the rest on the counter, but you get the idea. Now that everything's whisked together, I'm going to put that aside, and let's go ahead for some mixer action. You want to make sure you're using a whisk attachment. Going to go ahead and lower it. And we're going to beat at a fairly high speed. You kind of want to do it slowly. And then we're going to go ahead and crank it up a little bit faster for about 7 minutes. While that's going, I'm going to go ahead and take some butter and melt it in the microwave. I'm going to go ahead and add some milk to the butter and microwave it a little bit more. Okay, it's been going about 7 minutes and totally looks different. It's kind of actually grown in size. Get that mixed in a little bit. Go to RecipeTin Eats and check out her recipe, because that's the only way you're really going to make this properly. So it's about time to throw it into the Maxx. So for the two 6-inch rounds, they recommend cooking for about 30 minutes. So the oven is well preheated by now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it off for a second. Turn it back on. Set it for 30 minutes. Set it for 350. It's on bake mode. And the one that's a little bit less actually ends up being the regular one. The one that's spiced up has a little bit more. So I'm going to put that one towards the rear of the oven, since the rear of these ovens cook a little bit warmer. Let's go ahead and start it. And I'm using the bake to position on the wire rack. And we'll put the other one up more forward. And we're going to let her rip for 30 minutes, and we'll check back then. So while the cake is going, I'm going to go ahead and make some buttercream icing. You could also find this at RecipeTin Eats, and I'm going to make half as much as what is called for. So I'm going to go ahead and sift some powdered sugar. Alright, that should do it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add some butter that's been slightly softened. So the cakes have 9 minutes left according to the timer on the oven. The one in the back definitely has risen up quite a bit, and it's golden brown. The one at the front is not as brown, so I'm going to go ahead and swap positions. And we're going to let it cook the rest of the way. So I was reading her notes, and she says she hasn't tried 6-inch pans yet. So they could very well be done, because she says probably 25 to 27 minutes. And it's going about 29 minutes. So, it is what it is. Just a fun little experiment, as well as it is something to bring to you guys so you can check out her best vanilla cake. And I already tried this before, and it was like so tasty. Go ahead and test it out. Yeah, the smaller one is definitely done. And the larger one with the peppers, it's almost done. Almost there. Just going to put it back in just for a skosh. Meanwhile, here is the first one, and I'm going to go ahead and let it cool for about 15 minutes. And it could also be that I added that pepper tincture. That could definitely affect the cooking time and process. So, but not only that, I poured way too much batter in there. I mean, I'll just tell you right now, if you look at my original one right here, it's not even quite at the top yet, okay? And when I pull this one out, wait till you see it. I mean, you could just tell that this one is a lot bigger. Turn off the Maxx. Here's what we're looking at, and boy, I could smell the peppers. Totally smell the peppers. Let me go ahead and do one more final check on it. Yeah, it looks to be good. Boy, I could totally smell those peppers. Should be interesting. So I'm going to let this cool off for about 15 minutes. The other one's already about 10 minutes cooled off, but I'm going to let it cool with the other one. Can't hurt. And we'll be right back. Alright, it's been definitely more than 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and try to remove the cakes. Here's the smaller of the two. Oh yeah, it came out really nice. I dig it. Let's go ahead and get rid of the parchment. I'll just do a little flip. There we go. It is a little bit rounded on the top and a little uneven, and that's the fault of my oven. It really doesn't sit evenly on the counter. And I'm going to have to come up with a fix for that. But look at the edges. They're nice and brown. Definitely looks proper. I filled this one up way too high, so this is going to be a fail right here, I think. It just has a crack in the middle, as you could see, but it did come out. And it definitely has a nice brown to the edges as well. Both of them feel really moist. Now the buttercream frosting I was talking about, it's still kind of clumpy. I mean, I've been whisking this thing, trying all different methods, and it's just a little bit clumpy. But let's go ahead and try to apply it anyways. I'm going to apply it to the smaller of the two cakes. And I think it's a little bit more liquidy than it's supposed to be. I probably added too much milk. But anyhow, like I said, this is just kind of a little test. I will show you what the other one looks like that I made a few days ago. It came out perfect, but I did use store-bought buttercream icing. I'm going to come back and do this again sometime, but we're going to cut into these just to check them out. All right, let's go ahead and try this. And that's what we're looking at right there. And the cake is definitely super moist and spongy. Let's go ahead and cut a little slice. And let's go back up. All right, here's the little piece that I cut out, tiny little wedge. Then again, they're tiny little cakes, right? That is a dang good vanilla cake. I'm telling you, it's like simply one of the best vanilla cakes I've ever tasted. The cake is not oily. It's more buttery than it is oily or anything like that. It's kind of light and fluffy, but yet at the same time really spongy and moist. Definitely got to try this. Definitely go check out RecipeTin Eats. Again, I will post a link in the description down below. In fact, I'll post links for everything I used during this process and where to get it, in addition to a direct link to RecipeTin Eats site and a direct link to where you could find the vanilla cake. I'll post both of those. But wait, there's more. We're not done yet. Let's go ahead and check out the spicy one. Here we go. So there she is right there. Like I said, my oven doesn't sit straight. It's lower on this side than it is on this side. I'm really going to have to find a way to level it off a little bit better. I tried sticking some cardboard underneath one of the legs, and I used a level meter on my camera, but I just must have not got it quite right, you know? But yeah, let's go ahead and cut into this one. Oh yeah, look at that. It's still piping hot too. I mean, there's still steam coming off it. But it's still spongy. I can smell the pepper a little bit. Let's go ahead and give this a try. Now, I didn't use frosting on this one. I didn't really make enough, but I was just doing this one just for fun, you know? All right, here it goes. Taste is not really altered that much. You could still tell it's a nice vanilla cake. It's still spongy, has a good consistency, and there definitely is a heat there. You don't really so much taste the peppers, but you're definitely feeling the warmth from them, that's for dang sure. So after that little wedge of cake, it's coming on a little bit more now. As far as the heat in my mouth goes, being that I'm a chili head, I'm a little bit more accustomed to these things. I'm feeling it in my throat, feeling it in my mouth. That's definitely a good solid 2 out of 10 in heat for me. Now, for you non-chili heads out there, if you were to try it, you would probably think this is probably like a 7 or 8 in heat. It's definitely got some good heat to it. It's not bad. So I think we're going to tow this one out of here. I think I've run this into the ground. We've tried it enough. And thank you all so much for watching and being a part of the food experience. Many more experiences to come, that's for sure. And don't forget to check my description down below or in the pinned comment for links back to RecipeTin Eats. Also, big thank you and shout out to Nagi for creating this recipe. And I hope I'm not butchering your name. Truly one of the best vanilla cakes I've ever had in my life. And I know you probably don't approve of the spicy one, but again, I'm just a nut job and it's something that I wanted to do on the side after making one of the regular ones. But I will come back and try another frosting attempt in the future. So thanks again for being a part of the food experience. Also, one more shout out to the people in the Caloric Maxx Air Fryer Oven group. You guys are awesome. I love being part of that group and interacting with y'all. Always fun times and love seeing your recipes and everything you cook. So with that being said, I'm going to wish you all a very stellar day. Be excellent to each other. And most of all, remember me. I'm KJ Andio, your food experience host with the most. Take care, my fine folks, and I'll see you next time. Laters.